How many shrimps do you have to eat before you make your skin turn pink? Eat too much and you'll get sick. Shrimps are pretty rich.
Salutations, you wonderful bastards! It is me, your favorite off-meta specialist, PersonNamedTaco, back from the sequel of the Rhodesian Bush War that is unbeknownst to the general public. And today is quite a special day, because not only do I return from a millennia-long break, so concerning to a point where even a guy named Plushland checks up on me. Actually, thank you so much. I actually now expect the comment section to look up for me like that. But also, Riot Games decided to make League into a complete and utter mess. See, the new preseason kicked off with a huge overhaul of items with how they increase your opportunities of deleting somebody in a few seconds. Therefore, my brain started blasting. This is exactly why I'll be showcasing my fellow disciples of having fun and off-meta that, believe it or not, is actually viable with enough time dedicated to learn it. Without any further ado, it is time to spread the holiday cheer, crack open a few cans of beer, and quite frankly, get fucked in the rear. So, Icicle Teemo, a wonderful specimen that is loved by all. Ew! Dude! What the fuck? Wait, before you get your pitchforks out for the first 2 minutes into the video, hear me out. The hatred for Teemo, while it was justified a few years ago, even from my own perspective, I feel like in the modern day, it is sincerely overrated. Teemo is a fun little guy to beam around while you run around in a velocity faster than their mortal coil. And it might as well be my personal bias, but I prefer playing builds like these any day of the week than playing champions such as Zoe, or Samira, or Silas. Heavens forbid Yumi. Not to mention how much assassins and tanks are terrorizing the current meta as of late, to a point where for nearly 3 consecutive patches, popular assassin and tank items have been getting some nerfs. Fortunately for us, Icicle Teemo will be going for neither of those paths and will instead be going by the ways of turning from an icicle to a fucking iceberg.
Trust me, when you fire this game up, your little fucking nuts are gonna start quaking, buddy.
Starting off with runes and items, it should come as no surprise that each build has its own little twist depending on the matchup you'll be having while using this build. However, this rune page is the closest you'll ever get to having that Icicle Teemo experience. Let's do a quick rundown. Glacial Augment makes it so that every few seconds, one of Teemo's poison dots will turn into scrumptious frozen icicles, slowing the opponent upon the impact. It is genuinely fun for kiting and messing around with your opponent, who may get frequently desperate to get you the finest whooper from BK. Perfect timing is self-explanatory by its name alone. After 14 minutes, you'll receive a stopwatch that you can use to do some sick shit like this. That wasn't my timing right there, lads. Biscuit delivery can provide you some nice sustain by getting a biscuit from your local confectioner every 2 minutes, up to a maximum of 3 biscuits after 6 minutes into the game. They may not be as effective healing wise, but they give you a nice pat on the back by giving 50 maximum mana each. That way you can spam your abilities more consistently. Cosmic Insight isn't anything too special compared to its previous mentions. However, some summoner spell cooldown reduction along with this new bad boy called Item Haste. It is mostly situational, but depending on your build, it can come off as quite a benefit. As for the secondary runes, we move on to sorcery. Both Celerity and Nimbus Cloak are fantastic with their synergy, although you could select runes that provide you bonus attack speed or bonus health, but I enjoy myself some about normal speed, so I suggest the ones watching this to give this rune page a try. Oh, the stat runes? Nah, they don't matter. You can legit just make them go. Onto the build. Just like with runes, depending on your matchup, the build can differ by an item or two. However, we are the most optimized up in this bad boy, so we are well aware of everything. This is my preferred build path, and I think that it's absolutely stellar. There is no AP Hydra nor intention of going Bruiser. We're solely aiming to go from a small icicle to a massive fucking iceberg that is for some reason abnormally fast. I like to specifically regard Berserker's Greaves though. By sacrificing any further resistances, bonus attack speed from boots can help you gain additional harassment and assistance in using both Glacial Augments and Frostfire Gauntlet's effect. Given the actual variety in tanky items, Icicle Teemo is a jack of all trades of countering matchups. The only thing that you should be afraid of most, however, are the champions who can actually catch up to you, or stick to you like glue. Prime examples of that being Hecarim, Set, and Riven for as long as it's not a Riven 1 trick behind the screen.
You little nuts are gonna be quaking.
Upon early game, unless you're the most confident bad boy out there who goes for kills rather than anything else, or their own well-being for that matter, keeping the pressure high in lane is recommended. If your opponent ends up being a ranged champion, then tough shit, better keep it safe and farm then. Your main objective throughout 10 to 15 minutes in the game is to get Frostfire Gauntlet because that's where the power spike really goes up. Whenever you play Icicle Teemo, it doesn't feel like you're playing anything too strategic anymore, but rather you're taking an interest in mental gymnastics. The reason I'm saying that is because whenever you go for that poke heavy playstyle, the opposing top laner is really tempted to trade back, which comes out as an even more disadvantageous choice for them because of the often used slow from Glacial Augment. Take a look at this Nasus for example. Clearly he feels like he wants to have a piece of me after I have told all those bad things about his mother. However, as it turns out, my gossips do end up true though, because this Nasus is a son of a bitch. Or how about this Glad? Surely he had enough brain cells to understand that maybe trying to fight against the Teemo, which blinds the guy's auto attacks, isn't such a good idea. But guess what? He is a charlatan and an idiot. God bless his soul.
An ally has been slain. An ally has been slain.
You're gonna shoot.
During mid-game, if everything has gone well, you should be chilling out with the Frostfire Gauntlet, Berserker's Greaves, and potentially Titanic Hydra. This part of the game may as well be considered one of the strongest parts of this particular off-meta, because not only do you have a consistent way of being Frozone in the flesh, but you also gain some reliant sustain given the stats that both Frostfire Gauntlet and Titanic Hydra provide. If you haven't gotten any kills or had a difficult time in lane, mid-game is exactly the right time to go a bit more hog wild, knowing that the opposing enemy will try to get cocky and kill you again. After putting enough points into W and R as well, you have gotten some serious mobility, in which I can confidently say you're starting to achieve that speed beyond one's mortal coil. Right here we have a fellow Yasuo player, mentally deficient, yet surprisingly desperate. Even after building all these items, he still has enough curiosity to see if he can kill me with his own wits. I will give it to him though, he's chopping the absolute shit out of me. I might actually die here. However, there is no denying that a godlike being such as Icicle Teemo can never be killed. But who am I to judge? It's probably 3-6 power spike. Yeah, it has to be. While you're team fighting, make sure to keep a reasonable distance between yourself and the enemy team. Not too close to be targeted for all the attacks, but not too far away to be totally useless for your team. Your slowing autos should come in some serious clutch whenever your teammates want to finish off some kills from weakened opponents. Needless to say, it's extremely beneficial when you're continuously poking the enemies for consistent damage. Oi, Jarvan! You consider yourself to be a king of Demacia, yet you run away from a Yorda with a holiday cheer? Absolutely disappointing. Tell you what though, Nami and I are going to be very generous and offer you a nice Christmas gift that is considered a sweet release of death. We hope that you will like it and that we will see you in the Shadow Dimension really soon.
I swear to God that you will bust a nut.
Late game with Teemo is like any ordinary late game with a slight twist in you being an absolute unit by the time you get full build. Killing you is a tougher task and you are far faster when it comes to escape certain situations than before. Damage wise you still don't do it much, but you are sure as shit doing it consistently during some intense team fights. If the opponents choose to focus on you, it is actually an advantage from now on, because not only does it make the team look stupid to focus on a tank with movement speed of a god, but it also gives your team an advantage to focus on theirs and giving you lots of assists for utilizing from it. You know, it's always funny to see these fellows being mad greedy while they forget that my velocity is too much for their mortal coil to comprehend. I don't even need to kill them. Shaming them for what they lack in velocity is so much better. I find it quite funny as well that I barely even reach late game with this build. Most of my games as Icicle Teemo have ended with either 3 or 4 items at the very most, and with games taking around 35 minutes. I reckon that the nature of how League has developed is changing drastically to a point where almost every single game takes 35 minutes to see which team has thrown the least. Nevertheless, I find it hella fun to run around with this little guy and claim some easy W's in top lane and later on the entire game. And there you go. That's Icicle Teemo from start to finish. He's great throughout all stages of the game, if you practice with it of course. Offers a lot of utility for your team, and I suggest you definitely try it out. Do not let any of the false propaganda you hear against this little guy though. It's season 11. Times are changing and we are dealing with egos, 360 wind walls, and the casual 200 years that we all cherish so much. And given all the new items, I'm encouraging you all to go out there and make League into a shit show we once had before, where meta, while it is something people use as an excuse to win games, is being replaced with some relatively fun shit.